Welcome to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be telling the rather grim story of Verginia. Now, in the days when Rome was a republic, there was always some sort of conflict going on between two distinct groups in the city, the patricians and the plebeians. The patricians were the aristocratic families who basically held power in the city, and the plebeians were everybody else. A major grievance of the plebeians was the fact that the laws that they were supposed to obey were not written down. So in a sense, nobody actually knew what one was allowed to do and what one was not allowed to do. So, in about 450 BC, they decided to get these laws codified or written down. Looking to an ancient precedent, the Romans loved ancient Greece, and so it was natural that they should turn their attention to Greece. 10 judges were appointed to study the laws of Athens, the ancient Greek city of Athens, to study the laws that they had had, and to write down a set of laws for Rome. And these laws of Rome were called the 12 Tables. Rather like the 12 Commandments, I suppose. Now, one of the 10 judges, whose name was Appius Claudius, did something pretty grim while in this position of power. He had a liking for a girl called Verginia. He was resolved to get hold of this young girl and decided to go to any lengths to achieve his grim aims. Verginia at the time was actually betrothed to be married to another man, but Appius Claudius wasn't bothered by that. So he persuaded a friend of his, called Marcus Claudius, to bring a court case in which he claimed that Verginia was actually a slave girl belonging to him. Now, Virginia's father obviously was horrified by this, because not only was Verginia not a slave girl, she did not belong to Marcus Claudius. She was betrothed to be married to some perfectly pleasant young Roman, and he was horrified by this. But anyway, this case was brought and came to court, and who do you think the judge was hearing the case? None other than Appius Claudius. Well, Virginia's father could see what was happening, and he was damned if his daughter was going to be seized by this brutal, grotesque, lecherous old man. And so, rather than let the inevitable happen, and for the corrupt judge to find in favour of Marcus Claudius, thereby allowing him to get hold of Verginia, he marched into the courtroom, drew his dagger, and stabbed his daughter Verginia. Now, I mean, I really don't know what kind of moral you're supposed to get from a story like that. It's grotesque on every level, but it's something we've seen before about the ancient Roman character, this idea of virtue. Somehow it was considered preferable to die than to face the dishonour of being seized by another man. And the father of Verginia was, content to kill his daughter rather than let her be taken away by the corrupt Appius Claudius. Now, horrible as that story was, I think we'll just finish off this little session by translating a Latin passage that tells that story. It's in book 2 of the course. It's on page 21, and it is called A Roman Father Saves His Daughter. I don't know if you would exactly call it saving his daughter, but from his point of view, he was saving her from degradation and humiliation and brutal assault by this Roman judge. So we'll have a little crack at translating it and see how you get on. Olim civis Romanus, nomine Appius Claudius, puellam pulchram, nomine Verginiam, amabat. So we're going to do the normal sort of things. We're going to go to our verb first, and our verb is right at the end, amarbat. Now this is quite interesting because you've got quite a long sentence, and you've got the verb amarbat, third person singular, subject must be he, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular, and the subject is right at the front. We've got civis Romanus. Okay, so olim, which means once upon a time, civis Romanus, a Roman citizen. And then we've got little commaed off bits. Now, nomine appius Claudius, we've come across that little phrase nomine before. It means by name or called, we would probably say just called. And appius Claudius is the name of the Roman citizen. Just a little thing to tell you here about something called apposition. Apposition is where you have a noun referring back to a previous noun in the same case, and it's giving more information about that previous noun. So when we say civis Romanus, comma, nomine appius Claudius, the words appius Claudius are in apposition with the words civis Romanus. Okay, so they're there to give us a little bit more information about, in this case, the subject. Okay, so moving on, we've got our subject now, and we need to know the verb, and we trundle off to the verb and we find amarbat, was loving, okay, or loved. So, once upon a time, a Roman citizen called Appius Claudius loved, and our next question, who did he love? So we're looking for an object in the accusative case. We've got puellam pulchram, a beautiful girl. And then we've got this phrase again, nomine Verginiam. So, by name. And this time, Verginiam is in the accusative case in apposition with puellam pulchram. Okay? So that's just a nice little trick to learn. When you see a noun sort of commaed off from another noun, but in the same case, very often the reason for that is that it is in apposition with the earlier noun. Okay, sed pater Verginiae eam in matrimoniam iam promisserat. Okay, go to the verb first, promisserat, third person singular, subject must be he, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular. Back we go to the beginning, and we've got pater. That means a father. So, pater Verginiae is the father of Virginia. So, but the father of Virginia, iam promisserat. Now, iam means already, now or already, and promisserat is the third person singular pluperfect tense of promitto, I promise. So that is, he had promised. Okay, so but the father of Virginia had already promised. Now let's see if there's an object. We've got our little pronoun there, eam. Now, this is from is id, which we learnt in our last Latin lesson. So that is accusative feminine singular of is id. And we learnt that where is id is used in agreement with a noun, it means that. And when it's on its own, it means he, she, it, or him, her, it, or whatever. Here it's not agreeing with anything, so it means her. But the father of Virginia had already promised her, and then in matrimoniam means in marriage. Okay, on we go. Appius igitur amico suo, non tu inquit me adjuabis. So, what have we got here? We've got appius, that's our subject. It's sort of pretty clear that is, because nominative singular masculine, you know, what else could it be? So, appius, therefore, find the verb. Now, the verb, you've got to jump over those little inverted commas, and you'll see inquit. Now, inquit, we have mentioned this. Inquit is the way you introduce direct speech. So it means said or says. You kind of you work it out from the context, whether you're in the present tense or the past tense. So, appius, therefore, said, now he said, amico suo, that's the dative singular of amicus, to the friend, and you've got suo. Suo from suus, which means his own or her own or its own or their own. So, appius, therefore, said to his friend. Now, what did he say? We've got this stuff in inverted commas. We've got none tu, then the inverted commas close, and then you kind of jump over the inquit, and you find the rest of what he said, which was me adjuabis. So the technique for kind of deciphering all of that bit in the inverted commas is to kind of get rid of the inquit, it's in the way, and look at what is in the inverted commas, all of it. And if you look at all of it, we've got none tu me adjuabis. Okay? Now, none, it introduces a question when you're expecting the answer to be yes, and we've covered that before. Some people would like to translate none as surely. But either way, it's introducing a question where you're expecting the answer to be yes. Go to the verb, adjuabis. Now that's second person singular, bobispit, so it's future tense, and adjuo means I help. So, none tu adjuabis means surely you will help, or you will help, won't you? And there's one word floating around which is me, and that's the accusative of ego, and it means me. So, you will help me, won't you? Okay, that's the bit in the inverted commas. Okay, on we go. Eam puellam in matrimoniam ducere cupio. Go to the verb first. Cupio, I want. Okay? Now, cupio, it means I want, and it's very often followed by a present infinitive, because you're going to want to say something like, I want to do something. I want to swim. I want to eat. I want to sleep. Now, in this case, what he wants to do is ducere. Duco means I lead, but in matrimonium ducere means to lead into marriage, in other words, to marry. So what he's saying here is, I want to marry. Okay, now, who does he want to marry? Well, I want to marry eam puellam. And here's a really good example of how this time we've got id used in agreement with a noun. Feminine accusative singular, eam, and it's agreeing with puellam. So it means that girl there that I'm pointing at. Okay, on we go. Amicus eius forum intravit et Verginiam cepit. Okay, now here we've got two clauses joined together by et. So we do the first one first. Amicus eius forum intravit. Go to the verb intravit, third person singular, he, she, or it has entered. He, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular, and we've got amicus eius. Right, now amicus means the friend, and I don't know if you remember from last time when we were showing you how id worked, eius is the genitive singular of id, and it therefore means of him, or of her, or of that. And it's a very useful way of just simply saying his. So amicus eius means his friend. Amicus eius forum intravit. His friend entered forum, the forum. That's the main market square, the main assembly place in Rome. Et Verginiam cepit. And, now, don't go mad here, go to the next verb, cepit, third person singular, he, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular. And there isn't one, because all we've got is that word Verginiam, which is in the accusative case. So jump over that, don't ever translate an accusative case before the verb. And so, and he captured, cepit from capio capere cepi captum, and he captured Verginiam, Verginia. Okay, on we go. Ea autem fuggere cupiebat sed frustra. Go to the verb first. Cupiebat. Cupio, meaning I want. Cupiebat, third person singular. He, she, it, or a noun in the nominative singular. Wanted. Okay. Ea autem fuggere cupiebat. So it's he, she, or it wanted, or a noun in the nominative singular if there is one. Now, this is the first time that I've been doing these sessions with you that when I say or a noun in the nominative singular can be changed slightly to a noun or a pronoun, because ea is the nominative feminine singular of is, her, id, and it therefore means she, or, you know, that feminine person, but we're going to translate it as she. And the word autem, you remember, doesn't really mean very much at all. It just sort of means moreover. It's really just linking this to the previous sentence. So we've got ea cupiebat fuggere. She wanted to flee. Sed frustra, but in vain. Frustra means in vain. We get the word frustrate. Okay. Pater tamen filiam vidit et clamavit. Nice and easy. The father, however, filiam vidit, saw his daughter, saw the daughter, but we would say saw his daughter, et clamavit, and shouted. Okay, what did he shout? Into some more inverted commas. Filiam meam inquit non capies. Okay, now, as before, you've got inverted commas that is sort of enclosing that sentence, filiam meam non capies, and it's just been broken up with this little word inquit, which means he said. Do everything in the inverted commas together. Capies, second person singular, and that's future tense. It's capiam, capies, capiet. So, you will not capture filiam meam, my daughter. Inquit, he said. Eam servabo. First, go to the verb servabo. I, first person singular, future tense. I will save. Eam, there it is her id again. Accusative feminine singular, not agreeing with a noun or anyone, so it just means her. So I will save her. On we go. Inde gladium cepit et filiam caram interfecit. Inde, that means then. So we've got gladium cepit. Now, go to the verb. Always, always, always go to the verb first. If you don't, it just, the danger of, getting this wrong is sort of rockets. So, cepit, capio, capri, capi, captum. That's third person singular, perfect tense. So it's he took. So then he took, back you come to the object, gladium, a sword. So then he took a sword. Et filiam caram interfecit. Again, go to the verb, interfecit. That's from interficio, so perfect tense of interficio. And he killed. Who did he kill? Back you come to the object, filiam, caram, his dear daughter. Carus means dear, filiam, daughter, his dear daughter. And finally, ita, puellam, miseram, servavit. Ita means thus. So thus, go to the verb, servavit, he saved. Back to the object, puellam, miseram, the wretched girl. Okay, a pretty grim story, I'm sorry about that, but a great bit of Latin to play around with because so much going on in there. You've got is, id, sometimes used to mean that, sometimes used to mean him or her or it or them or whatever, and also some good little fun breaking up inverted commas. So where what someone is saying is inside inverted commas, but it's broken in the middle by the word inquit, meaning he said. Okay, so quite a lot to get your teeth into with that passage. I hope it went well. See you next time for more lessons on this channel. Do subscribe to get notifications, and any problems, just drop me a comment in the comments box below. Okay, see you next time.